So you're a little tired of playing Arabia and have decided to master the Nomad build order for competitive Age of Empires 2 multiplayer? Well then, you should stick around because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, and which civilizations are particularly strong on Nomad, and how you might catch your opponent by surprise. Let's go! So I should say right at the beginning that Nomad might seem like a relaxed start, but actually it is much more intense than playing Arabia, and that's because we lack a ton of information and because your villagers will change their jobs multiple times throughout Dark Age and Feudal Age, and that's also why instead of using the usual build order chart, we instead use individual goals to achieve and the eco balance to get there. I promise it will all make sense as we walk through it. So right at the beginning, the big decision is where to put your town center as quickly as possible, and you can see in the build order chart we're also placing a dock with the third villager. Now, why would we build a dock? If you think about it, a dock is pretty much like an additional town center since it can produce fishing ships, which then give you free food just like sheep or boars would. Now you might say, hang on Toaster, we won't have any wood to produce fishing ships, and this already brings us to the crux of the build order. The primary goal, as always, is to produce villagers out of the TC non-stop with 0 TC idle time, but the secondary goal is also to produce as many fishing ships as we can. And looking up at the resource bar, you can see we have 200 food in the bank, which is worth 4 villagers and takes about 2 in-game minutes to produce. Until that time, we can focus our villagers on wood to quickly get enough for a fishing ship and then switch them over to food. When you place your dock, by the way, slap it right next to the shorefish like you've just seen here, so that your villager can take the shorefish afterwards, and will use a house as a natural protection for your villager, so that all you need to do in case you get attacked, you place a palisade, quick wall, and done. Let's also quickly talk about TC positioning. Given that we're starting with wood collection here, and will be switching between wood and food quite a bit, we want to build the TC bang on a straight wood line, and not too close to the water in case we lose that later. Besides that though, don't overthink it. The map generation on Nomad is pretty good these days, and resources spawn pretty evenly. While we finish the town center here, it's important to use your herdables to scout. In particular, you're looking for boars or rhinos on this map. In most cases, you even have a second one within luring distance, like we do here.
My God, it's coming right for us!
And here we go, TC is up, and we send up to 4 villagers on wood until we have 75 wood to produce a fishing ship. Again, we can afford to do that because we have enough food to queue up 4 villagers, and our shorefish villager will even get us some more in the meantime. By the way, this build order will involve a lot of force dropping, so make sure you have your hotkeys all set. If you don't know how that works, check out my video on 5 tips that get you from beginner to pro. As for the 4th lumberjack that's going to come out here in a second, if your boar is very far away, you send that villager straight there to get it, whereas if it's a bit closer, like in this case, then leave it on wood for a bit longer before you lure the boar. The key with the other lumberjacks, by the way, is to have at least 25 wood for a house in the bank, before you then completely move them over to food. Notice I now produce the fishing ship because we had enough wood, and also here we go, rhino incoming. Remember you need 12 TC arrows to get the boar down to 1 shot, so take that into account as you bring it in. Now the next villager will build a house, and the real art of Nomad Dark Age shall begin. The goal now is to have just enough on food to be able to produce villagers constantly, while we build up to 6 villagers on wood for constant fishing ship production as well. In practice, this means having around 4 to 5 on food, given that we're using boar, shorefish and deep fish. All of those have different collection rates, so you do need to adjust a bit as you go along. I usually kick it off with 5 on food until I'm comfortable that I can reduce it to 4. Your resource bar will help you a great deal to keep track of that, obviously, and if you like it to look a bit more clear, then I recommend you check out my video on 5 mods that you definitely want to use. Is it too much advertising? Maybe. Make sure your lumberjacks are working efficiently, by the way. A TC on the wood line can sometimes spawn villagers very awkwardly, so do avoid any idle time or pointless walking around. The biggest challenge at this point of the build order really is that you force drop at the right time with both your food and wood villagers, so do have control groups on those villagers. Now things start to calm down for a few minutes, because once you have 6 on wood, you simply add the rest of your Dark Age villagers to hunt, starting with a villager here to build a house and then go get the second rhino. If for whatever reason you don't see the second rhino, don't panic, just use the food sources that are available to you. Nomad is all about having a great plan and then improvising when it all goes wrong. Let's speed this part up a bit, because all you do now is whenever you have 75 wood, we want to add a fishing ship, and that's pretty much it. This production should be non-stop until we have 4 fishing ships. Why not more? Because we also need to have wood for houses and for the second Dark Age building, and adding more villagers on wood would then delay our uptime too much. So once you have the 4th fishing ship queued up, I recommend you take 3 villagers from wood to food to further speed up your Feudal Age time. One of those lumberjacks you just took off the wood line, by the way, will build a house first before going to food. As soon as you have 100 wood in a few seconds, you take one of the lumberjacks and build a lumber camp, which is going to be your second up building. And then, when you have 18 villagers, you click the magic button. A quick word on Loom, by the way. As always, you could do it at any time, but I do find it less useful on Nomad, because all of your resources are within the protection radius of the TC anyway. There is no remote woodline or anything like that you need right at the beginning, so I do think you can definitely delay it until at least Feudal Age, if not Castle Age. And here we go, we're clicking up at 8:45, that's not bad at all for Nomad. Clicking up means a massive rebalancing is needed to achieve our next goals. In this case, I'm setting up for a fast castle with some water defense in Feudal Age, which means I need tons of wood. So I very simply take all of my villagers and put them on wood. Don't forget we do still have 4 fishing ships getting us food income, so that is fine. The other thing we do while on the way up, by the way, is add another 2 fishing ships to further drive that food income. Also, don't forget about your shorefish villager. Once he's done with the first shorefish, we simply do the very same thing by moving him along the coast towards your TC, and he will build another dock and another house. Same principle, you want that 1 tile gap to palisade him in case you need to. What we're also going to do in Feudal Age is get fire ships in the field. And we want 4 in total, so it's way easier if you have 2 docks, obviously. We do need to dominate water in Feudal Age, because our economy relies on the fishing ship income. Speaking of fire ships, we will need gold for that as well, so go ahead and take 2 villages to start mining gold. In the town center, you should now already have 1 or 2 villas queued up for Feudal Age, because you'll be very busy once you hit the next age. Also make sure you bring back any goats that you used for scouting in case you haven't yet. They'll come in handy very soon. Now just before you hit Feudal Age, do a big force drop with all of your wood villagers, because you'll need all of the wood you can get for various things right away. Congrats, you've now reached Feudal Age. Let's take some golds here. Queue up 2 fire ships and get double bidaxe immediately as the first thing you do in Feudal Age. Also add a 3rd villager to gold from your wood line and set your TC gather point to gold until you have 5 there in total. We need that for the fire ships. Afterwards, take a villager to build another house. Building wise, we will need a mill on deer or berries, as well as a blacksmith and a market to go up, and a bunch of houses as well. As always, use those buildings as a natural wall to protect you. Once you're confident you have all the wood you need for the fire ships and the buildings, then start shifting from wood to food gradually until you're left with 8 on wood roughly. We'll do the same thing with the gold, by the way, so once you've queued up the 4th fire ship, reduce to 4 villagers so that you will have enough for loom and the 200 gold you need to go to Castle Age. While we watch this unfold on screen, let's talk civilizations. It does depend on your playstyle a great deal, how much you want to focus on water, whether you want to pressure in Dark, Feudal or Castle Age, but generically some classic civs for Nomad are the Huns, because their TC spawns a scouting horse. This is super helpful for a fast castle build, because we can find out if we should expect feudal pressure from our opponent, we can locate the enemy dock to send our fire ships to, and we can collect a ton of sheep across the map while we're in Feudal Age. Another good options are the Berbers. Their villagers move plus 5% faster in Dark Age and 10% faster in Feudal Age, and their ships move 10% faster. All of this helps a great deal to reduce all the travel time you will have on Nomad. Another option are, believe it or not, the Dravidians. Their fishing ships and fishermen carry 15 food more, the docks provide plus 5 pop space, and they receive 200 wood on advancing to the next stage. Worrying less about getting housed is actually a huge relief in this build order because you're so busy the whole time. So this is definitely worth considering. And obviously any hybrid map civ works here as well, like the Japanese, or anything else that boosts the units you're going for or your early economy in any way. In the meantime, you can see on screen we have placed all the buildings we need and rebalanced our economy, so let's speed this up again. Whenever you have excess wood, by the way, you can decide whether to add fishing ships or farms. Both obviously work great for your economy in preparation for Castle Age. And here we go, we're hitting the magic up button at 1526 with 39 population, and that's pretty decent for Nomad, I would say. From here on out, it's very simple, just add your barracks and the stable, get your upgrades in and pump out knights, just like you've seen in my fast castle build. What, you haven't seen that yet? What are you still doing here? Go ahead and watch that, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and I'd love to know what time you achieved with this build order to click up to Castle Age, because I'm pretty sure you can execute it better than I did here. So good luck with that, and I'll see you for the next video. Ciao!